Hello everybody, this is Ogre Boy, and I'm going to be doing my top 20 favorite male country singers. My friend Big D from Big D's Entertainment Rankings and Reviews did his list of his 20 favorite male country singers, so I asked him if he thought I should do it. He's like, yeah, you should, and everything, so it's like, okay, I'll go ahead and do that tonight. So this is a pretty fun list to make. It was a tough list, getting down to just 20, but it's still a fun list though, and everything. I'm really glad that I got to do this. I'll leave a link to his video in the description box and everything, and I'll go ahead and get started. Number 20 is Tracy Byrd. This guy is one that I used to listened to a lot when I was a kid, but mainly on radio stations. I didn't really know who he was. I knew his songs and everything, but I didn't know who he was until, and a few years ago I checked out one of his CDs at the library, and it made me realize how many songs of his that he's done that I really like a lot and everything. There's a lot that I really liked. My favorite song of his is probably The Watermelon Crawl, which is probably one of his most popular ones, and If We're From the Country, I love that song too. And Drinkin' Bone, which is one of his more underrated songs. It was released on the radio and stuff, and it was probably the first song of his that I really remember a lot when I first started listening to music. It came out like when I was really starting to get into music and stuff. And I really like that song a lot. And there's a lot of other good ones. Another one that I like, When Mama Ain't Happy, Nobody's Happy, So I'm Gonna Make Mama Happy Tonight, or something like that. I love that song too. But he has a really good voice and everything, and he's a really likable singer. I like a lot of his songs are catchy and everything. I also love the song The Keeper of the Stars and everything. I think that's another one of his great songs. It's not my most favorite and everything. I have personal reasons why I don't like it as much as I used to, but it's still a good song. But yeah, so Tracy Byrd is number 20, and number 19 is Joe Nichols. He's one that I actually feel is really underrated. I like a lot of his stuff. I remember when he first started out, I loved his music, especially Broken Heartsville. That was like the song that really made me want to hear more of his stuff. And then he also did What's a Guy Gotta Do to Get a Girl in This Town. I love that song. Tequila Makes Her Clothes Fall Off, which is both hilarious, and the music video is hilarious and kind of disgusting, because we find out the person he's talking about in the song is his grandmother, and it's like, it's funny, but it's also like, ew, I don't want to see that. But and then of course, probably my favorite song is If Nobody Believed in You. I just love that song. I think it's a really good one. I'll Wait For You, that's another really good one. Red Dress, which is a duet with Lucy Hale, I really like that song quite a bit. Even though that song is pretty much just them saying the same things over and over and everything, it's just really catchy. I really like that song. But he's a really good singer. I also love the song Impossible, which might have been the one that got him started. I think that was his first big hit, but I think that one came out before Broken Heartsville, if I remember right. But I know I love that song too. There's just a lot of his songs are really good. Man, talking about all these people will make me want to listen to my CDs. But Joe Nichols is really good in everything, so he's number 19. And number 18 is Ray Stevens. This one is more of a comedic singer and everything, but he's still considered country and everything. I really love a lot of his songs. I don't even know which one I would have to say is my favorite. There's so many good ones. I know one of the songs that I love a lot is I'm My Own Grandpa, which I don't think was released as a big hit, but one of my friends, Gene from Gene's Reviews, he actually did a cover of that song on his channel one time, and I thought he did a really good job on it, so I definitely recommend checking that out if you can. I'll try to leave a link in the description box if I remember. But I loved his take on that song. But that song's been sung by many other people, such as the guy who did the voice of Blue in Jungle Book. He did a version of it, except his version was called "He's His Own Grandpa" instead of "I'm My Own Grandpa." And Willie Nelson has done it, and there's been a bunch of other versions, but Ray Stevens is my favorite version and everything. It's from his album Crackin' Up, which is my favorite Ray Stevens album. I also love Cactus Pete, which is on that album, and Three-Legged Man. Those were all ones that didn't really become hits, but I love those songs. And then as far as his big hits, my favorite one is, of course, The Streak, which is the song he's known for, the Mississippi Revival, Surfing USSR. Those are probably my main favorites. And I really like one called Sitting Up with the Dead. It was one that I used to not really like that much as a kid and everything. And now that I'm older and I'm into horror movies and stuff, I actually really like that song a lot more now than I used to and everything. But Ray Stevens is just, he's a really good one. And I also love his song Santa Claus Is Watching You. I have to listen to that at least once every year during the holidays. But so Ray Stevens is number 18, and number 17 is Brad Paisley. I absolutely love Brad Paisley. He's just such a really good singer. His background and stuff doesn't sound as much like real country and everything everything. I don't think he really fully sounds country, but what the background lacks, his lyrics and stuff make up for. He has country lyrics and his voice is country, and I love a lot of his songs. They're real. I actually don't think there is a Brad Paisley song that I dislike that I've heard. Every single one of them I've liked a lot. My favorites are Little Moments. That's one of my favorites. Probably the first one that was the song that kind of made me start knowing who Brad Paisley was. And also liked Whiskey Lullaby with Alison Krauss. That was a great song. Remind Me with Carrie Underwood. I'm sorry, Big D, but I love that song. There's just a lot of songs of his that I love, and I love when him and Carrie Underwood hosts the awards together, because I think they have really good chemistry and stuff. Once again, I'm sorry, Big D. But yeah, I love this movie and everything. So, or I mean, movie. I'm sorry, I'm used to doing movie list. I love Brad Paisley. He's a great singer and he has a lot of great music and everything. So he's number 17. And number 16 is Clint Black. I really do like him a lot too. He's a really good singer. My favorite one is the song of his is Nothing But the Taillights. I love that song. And When I Said I Do, which I can't remember who he sang it with. I think it might have been his wife. But I really like that song a lot. And Desperado, I love his version of that and everything. He's one that I always kind of feel is a little underrated. He was kind of overshadowed by George Strait, who started out around the same time. And of course, I'll talk more about George Strait later. But Clint Black is just a really good one. He's pretty underrated, though. I like a lot of his stuff and everything. I don't know a lot of the songs off the back of my hand. I forgot a lot of the names of them and everything. If I went and filmed this video, I probably would be able to remember. It seems like that happens a lot. But Clint Black is just a really good singer and everything. I like a lot of his stuff and everything. So he's number 16, and number 15 is Toby Keith, a fellow Okie. I like a lot of his stuff. He's another one of the first singers that I really started noticing when I started getting into music and stuff and everything. I've always liked Toby Keith quite a bit, but yeah, I think he's a pretty good singer. I actually got to see him in concert once, and he was pretty good and everything. But he wasn't the best part of that concert. There were a lot of other good Oklahoma singers there. It was for the 10th anniversary of the bombing memorial from the downtown bombing here in Oklahoma City. But this was he's a really good one, though. He has a lot of good songs. My favorite song of his is How Do You Like Me Now? I love that song. I listen to it all the time if I'm listening to him. That's always one song that I always make sure I listen to. Also love the Angry American, or Courtesy of the Red, White, and Blue, as some call it. I love that song too. That's actually the song that really made me start noticing who he was and everything, because I remember that song came out after 9/11 and everything, and just a really good song. It's one of his best to me. And of course, Beer for My Horses with Willie Nelson. Gotta love that song. And Stays in Mexico. There's just a lot of songs of his that I love. Should Have Been a Cowboy. I'm Not As Good As I Once Was. There's just a lot. And everything. I also like the songs in his movie Broken Bridges, which I think is a really good movie. I did really enjoy that one. I hated his other movie, though, Beer for My Horses. That movie was just, I don't even like talking about that. But I think he's a really good singer. Much better singer than actor, though. That's for sure. But he is a really good one and everything. So he's number 15. And number 14 is another fellow Okie, Garth Brooks. I really do like a lot of his old stuff. Stuff that came out in the late 80s and early 90s I grew up with. And Garth Brooks being a big star and stuff from Oklahoma and everything, he's everywhere in Oklahoma. I mean, you can go, he has all kinds of deals with Walmart stores and stuff, so we see merchandising of Garth Brooks a lot, especially back then. Not as much nowadays, but there used to be all kinds of shirts and stuff. And he's just like really big in the 90s, and up until he retired briefly, and now he's back and everything. But I don't really like much of his new stuff. I feel like he's kind of sold out and everything, because he doesn't sound the same anymore and everything. I don't like the way he does music nowadays. It just doesn't sound like old Garth Brooks and everything. I just don't like his old stuff, or his new stuff. I mean, I love his old stuff, like Friends in Low Places, of course, which is probably his biggest hit. The Dance, More Than a Memory, that song was really a good song. What She's Doing Now, The River, which is a really good song and everything. Makes me think of my friend Heather. She loves that song. We used to listen to it all the time. And there's just a bunch of good songs from him. I mean, he is one of my favorite singers. I hate the way he is nowadays. He just doesn't sound like Garth Brooks anymore. He sounds like he just sold out to try to stay popular with the younger crowd, and I hate that about him. But I don't deny that I love a lot of his old stuff, though. He is still one that I really like a lot. So Garth Brooks is number 14, and number 13 is Buck Owens. I really like a lot of his songs. My favorite is Act Naturally, which is probably the song he's most known for. But I also love Tiger by the Tail, and there's so many other ones. Streets of Bakersfield, which he did a version by himself, and he also sang it with Dwight Yoakam. I like both versions about the same and everything. I think both versions are really good and everything, but I think that's a really good one. And there's a lot of other songs that he's done that I like and everything, but he's one that I used to listen to all the time as a kid, though. I listened to him with my grandparents all the time and everything, so I pretty much grew up on. He's one of the singers I grew up listening to and everything. So Buck Owens is number 13, and number 12 is Waylon Jennings. Most of my favorite songs with him are actually duets with Willie Nelson, like Good Hearted Woman, Mamas Don't Let Your Babies Grow Up to Be Cowboys, Looking Black, Texas, which Willie's only on there at the very end of it, so that one's not much of a duet, but I love Looking Black, Texas, so that's probably my favorite song of his. And then I think it's called I've Never Been to Spain. It was one that I listened to earlier that I hadn't heard in a long time. I really like that song quite a bit, and the Dukes of Hazzard theme song, and Amanda. Those are all just some of the many songs of his that I like and everything. I like Waylon Jennings quite a bit. My friend always gives me a rough time because I used to not really give Waylon Jennings the credit he deserved and everything, but I really do like him quite a bit, and I like him a lot more than my friend thought I did and everything. So he's number 12, and number 11 is Randy Travis. I love a lot of his songs. My favorite one is Through Wooden Crosses, though. That's just one of those songs that I just love it. It's one I used to listen to all the time. I remember when it first came out and everything. And I don't know what it is. I just always love that song. And I like it even more now that I'm older and I understand the lyrics and stuff a little bit better. I also love Forever and Ever Amen, which is probably my second favorite song of his. I love that one, and Digging Up Bones, and On the Other Hand. And I love his gospel stuff too. His version of I'll Fly Away I think is really good, and the songs on this Train album, there's a lot of really good ones on there that I like and everything. So I really do like Randy Travis a lot, though. He's number 11, and number 10 is Tennessee Ernie Ford. I really like him a lot. He's got a lot of really good songs. My favorite one is probably 16 Tons. I love that song, but I also love Shotgun Boogie and what's it called? Hey Mr. Cotton Picker. I love that song too. There's a lot of songs of his that I really like, though. He's another one that I like a lot. Now, I love his gospel too. He does a really good job at gospel music and everything. But he's just one that I really like a lot. I love his voice and everything. That deep voice and everything. He just has a really good voice and everything. So, Tennessee Ernie Ford is number 10. And number 9 is Conway Twitty. This was actually one of my mom's favorite singers too. I used to listen to him a lot because of her. She had his CDs, and I remember she used to blast the CD where you could hear it from outside and everything. When I was playing in the backyard, I could hear it playing and everything. But I love a lot of his stuff. My favorite song of his is the Moon song, where I Don't Know a Thing About Love is the alternate title for it, but I love that song. It's easily my favorite one. I also like Hello Darling and Happy Birthday Darling. The songs he did with Loretta Lynn, I love a lot of them. My favorite one that they did is, of course, Louisiana Woman, Mississippi Man. Easily my favorite song that they did together, but I also love, there's a song they did together called You're the Reason Our Children Are Ugly. Yeah, I love that song too. It's just really humorous, and it makes me think of my science teacher for some reason. Because my old science teacher in school, 7th grade, he used to always tell the kids and stuff about his grandkids and his kids and stuff. He'd say that his kids were ugly because they looked like his wife, and the grandkids were cute because they didn't take after his son and everything. It just used to crack me up, and that song, for some reason, makes me think of him and everything. But so Conway Twitty is number 9, and number 8 is George Strait. He's one that I used to always say was really overrated and everything. I used to actually not even like George Strait for a while and everything. And then I got his CD one time because I was just going through CDs at the library. I got him and started listening to him. I was like, holy crap, I really do like this dude. He's like one of my favorites. I just never realized how big of a fan I was of him until... Because, I mean, I never hated him. I never thought that I was a huge fan of him and everything. But I love George Strait. He's a great singer. He's one of the, he's still staying true country and everything, as far as I know anyway. I don't know if he's had any new albums in a while, but I love a lot of his songs. My favorite one of his is Check Yes or No. I think that's my favorite one. I also love Fire I Can't Put Out, You Look So Good in Love, Heartland, the Greatest Day of My Life, She'll Leave You With a Smile, and of course one of my most favorite songs of all time, country songs, just especially out of the last 20 years or so, is Murder on Music Row by him and Alan Jackson. I love that song because it just pretty much disses everybody that was in the entertainment industry at that time, when country was going from being regular country to country pop like it is nowadays and everything. That song was ahead of its time and everything, but I love that song and everything because I've seen the clips of them singing it at the MCA Awards or one of those award shows, and you could tell people in the audience were offended by it and everything. I was like, man, that is just awesome and everything. So George Strait is number 8, and number 7 is Charley Pride. He's known as like one of the biggest African American country singers. There's not a whole lot of them, but he is just really, really great. He ranks up there as one of the best to me. I love a lot of his music. Of course, my favorite song is Kiss of an Angel, Good Morning. I think that anybody who likes Charley Pride probably would say that's their favorite song, I mean, and everything. But I also loved his version of Kalijah, and Is Anybody Going to San Antonio? I love that song, and there's just so many other good ones. He's one that I really, really like a lot and everything. He's been one of my favorites ever since I was a kid and everything. Every time I listen to him, I think I like him even more. Everything. He's just a really great singer. I know we were supposed to be getting a biopic on him, and I don't know what happened with that. I know they were talking about The Rock playing him at one point, and I don't think The Rock needs to play him. I think they need to get either somebody unknown or something, because, I mean, The Rock, I just can't picture him as Charley Pride. But let me know in the comments, what do you think? Do you think that The Rock should play Charley Pride? I don't really see it being a good fit, but I'm just curious to see what you guys would think. So Charley Pride is number 7, and number 6 is Willie Nelson. Willie Nelson isn't just a country singer, though. I mean, I think he's just kind of like an everything singer, because I mean, he's done jazz, he mainly is country, but he has done stuff in other genres a little bit. He's mixed in with pop before, like when he sang with Jessica Simpson for that song on the Dukes of Hazzard DVD. But he's just one that he's a legend. I mean, he's one of the few left that we still have that's still alive and everything, and he's still really great to this day. I've heard a lot of his new music. I like most of it and everything, and he's a really good singer and everything, and everything. So Willie Nelson is number 6, and number 5 is Hank Williams Sr. I do like Junior too, but not enough to really put him on this list. I give him an honorable mention, I guess, but I love Hank Williams Sr. He has a lot of really good music. My favorite song of his is I'm So Lonesome I Could Cry. I mean, I just love that song, and I Saw the Light, which is one of my favorite gospel songs and everything. I love his version of that one, and I liked his version of Kalijah, and Her Cheating Heart, really great song. I love his version of that, and there's a lot of other songs of his that I love and everything. He's a really, really good singer and everything. So Hank Williams is number 5. And number 4 is Merle Haggard. He's another one that I used to listen to a lot as a kid. My dad's a really big fan of him, and my grandpa liked him a lot too. There's a lot of songs of his that I love. My favorite one is maybe Okie from Muskogee. I like that one a lot. If We Make It Through December is another one that I really like a lot. And I also love Mama Tried, which is another one of my most favorites of his, and Daddy Frank, I think is the name of it. I love that one, and the song he did with Willie Nelson, Poncho and Lefty, I like that one a lot, and everything. That's a really good storytelling song, because it tells a story and everything. I always would have been interested in seeing them make a movie of Poncho and Lefty. I think that would have been cool if they would have made a movie out of it and everything. But yeah, Merle Haggard is just, he was a legend and everything. It sucked that he passed away a few years ago, but he is a really good singer. There's like I said, there's a lot of songs of his that I like. Working Man Blues, Barroom Buddies with Clint Eastwood. I love that song. It's really catchy, and everything. So, but yeah, Merle Haggard is number 4, and number 3 is Alan Jackson. Man, he was one of the first singers that I ever started recognizing as a kid. I was like about maybe 6 or 7. I started noticing that he was the same singer because one time when I was with my grandma and grandpa, we were going on a road trip somewhere, and they like played a bunch of his songs on the radio. I don't know if there was like some kind of event going on or what, but they like played a bunch of his songs, and I was like, that's the same guy, isn't it? And everything. I really like Alan Jackson. He's a great singer and everything. There's so many songs of his that I love it and everything. Pretty much all of his songs from when he first started out chasing that neon rainbow to Monday Morning Church, which is a really underrated song. Remember When, Where Were You When the World Stopped Turning, When Daddy Let Me Drive, Where I Come From, Country Boy. There's a bunch of songs. I have his 2-disc CD, and there's not one song on there that I dislike. I like every single song on there. And he's one of my favorite singers and everything. I re-listen to his stuff quite a bit, at least about maybe 10 or 11 times a year. But I love Alan Jackson. He's such a great singer, and talking about him makes me want to go back and listen to him again. But so he's number 3, and number 2 is George Jones. I just love this singer. He's one of my favorites, easily. He has so many great songs. He Stopped Loving Her Today, which is a really depressing song, but it's a really great song. The Grand Tour, which is probably my favorite song of his. Picture of Me Without You. The Race Is On. White Lightning. There's just so many amazing songs from George Jones and everything. There's not hardly any that I disliked. Now, I also love his gospel stuff, especially his version of Amazing Grace. I think it's just great. And the song that he did with the Angel Band, the song that he did with Vestal Goodman, I love that song and everything. There's just a lot of really, really great songs by George Jones and everything. So he's number 2, barely number 2. And my number 1 favorite male country singer of all time is Johnny Cash. He's just one of my favorite singers of all time. I really love him. He's not just my favorite. Actually, he is my favorite singer of all time. He's not just my favorite male country singer. He's just my favorite singer in general. I love a lot of his songs, especially Get Rhythm. That's probably my favorite song of his. I also love Folsom Prison Blues, I Walk the Line, 5 Feet High and Rising, Jackson with his wife, June Carter Cash, Daddy Sing Bass. There's just so many great songs of his. There's not any that I think I dislike. Another one of my favorites is Ira Hayes. I love that song. There's a lot of really great ones and everything. I love his voice, like the grittiness it feels and everything. He has like that gritty voice and rough and tough voice, like, and everything. I just love that about him and everything. And I do like the song Hurt. I used to not like that song very much and everything, but as I've gotten older and stuff, I've come to really like that song a lot and everything. And I think part of it, of course, is it was marketed in one of my favorite movies recently, Logan, and everything, and it just fit in there. And I love the song that's at the end of Logan, When the Man Comes Around. I love that song, and God's Gonna Cut You Down, which I think was released after his death. I love his version of that. It's really creepy and stuff, but I just love it and everything. There's just so many great songs and everything. I could go on and on about Johnny Cash. I might end up doing a top 10 list of my favorite songs of his sometime. But anyway, let me know in the comments who your favorite male country singers are. I hope you enjoyed this video, and have a good day, everybody.
This is the song that doesn't end. Yes, it goes on and on, my friend.
That's enough, guys.
Some people started singing it, not knowing what it was, and they'll continue singing it forever just because this is the song that doesn't end.
How do I turn you off?